this time around. They won't ban it out, but we will see what bans are components. But we are underway to Lijiang Tower starting map for these two teams. A classical, if you will, of all of the maps are not well. So already starting off a little bit of different sides. Orisa versus Ramantra to try to take this one out. Torbjorn turret already out of play. And bans, by the way, Echo banned out by UT Dallas. That will be the first time they banned out Echo in this case. And Blinn banning out Ana, also the first time banning them out, banning Ana out in this entire series as well. So both new bans to either team in the Texas qualifiers this weekend. But it looks like Blinn is going to start off with the first point.
Very interesting to see that we have phone rolling out on this Pharah. We ended up using that TP from the Symmetra that's swapping back. I do think that the Raheem and Hutch, this wombo combo, is a lot more powerful for the long sustained fights here. Case in point, Kashir, Phone, both fall over, and the Orisa powering forward is going to get a lot of support between these two. And the one thing is that if that Brigitte gets that Inspire up, or, you know, is able to power creep as we get these levels, Brig sustain becomes atrocious in the best way possible, and I just don't think Lucio is capable of keeping up at this point in time.
Yeah, by the way, coming into this game, UT Dallas, the #1 seed, Blinn College, the #2 seed. Okra rankings have UT Dallas, the Comets, at number 12, and Blinn and the Buccaneers at number 17. So let's see what Blinn can do off of advantage to them as well. Deadeye also available for Sky Sniper. Somebody almost falling off the map. That's the Lucio that has to try to creep his way all the way back up to the top of the map, which should be able to get him out now, but halfway home. Sky Sniper, again, Deadeye available. We'll have an Orbital Ray available, but you might not even need to use the Deadeye considering you get rid of the Lucio, but the Deadeye will come out in counteraction with the Kitsune Rush, considering you can keep teams at bay for a moment, though you will use it to no avail, to no kills whatsoever. Orbital Ray looking to be used here. Overrates does not have a sound barrier to retaliate if they decide to. They're just kind of staying outside of this room. They don't want to take any pressure here.
The patience actually being shown there from Sky Sniper to just stay in one spot, hold it down, because that Kitsune Rush being popped out was, I think, advantageous. Thankfully, I mean, if you were counting, that Genji's deflect was almost online. We could have lost one of our players, so we're coming in with that Orbital Ray now, allowing our Orisa once again to push forward, hit the Terra Surge, cannot charge it up too long for fear of getting eliminated by the enemy team. Raheem waiting on the opportunity also to pop this rally, likely to use it for sustain, seeing if more than one person hits critical, then we'll likely see it this fight. But right now, Phone, I'm watching you. You have the Rocket Barrage online, and if you're UTD, we need to find a way to get the elimination. Will it be the Orisa? It will not.
Won't be, but the Barrage doesn't find anything. UT Dallas, though, able to find at least the point momentarily. Sky Sniper, though, getting out. Eric is a big pick for you in trade, so they'll keep this going. And Regime, whip shot onto Door. You might just about do it as well, because that means that both or the supports are now out of play. The only one you have left to touch is Phone, and Phone's just going to get speared away and hit by Sky Sniper at the same time. Good start for the Buccaneers, 100-13 on the Gardens.
Look at that patience shown from Blinn College, though. Despite the fact that they were trying to wait and bait out a couple more of those ultimates, they even were willing to give up almost 20% of the objective just so that they could force those ults, re-engage with the rally, and have better and stronger sustain inside the objective. Force Pharah into a disadvantaged state by making her go back outside. That type of patience does pay off in the long run, especially, I feel like, when you're running a comp centered around this Brigitte and the amount of cleave that they're able to get in those moments of time. So let's see, will they keep up that same type of discipline as we roll into control center here? We're swapping. Kashir is going to go away from the Ramatra and instead going over to this JQ, so we're playing for the Jotes and the sustain. I'm curious, Phone, are you going to stick with the Pharah after you get your team teleported? No, we're going Sombra.
Yeah, we're going Sombra, and Blinn going off of the Torbjorn as well, meaning you got no counteraction to a Sombra lurking behind you if needed as well. Map type records, by the way, here on Control for Blinn. They are 2-1 with their only loss happening on Helios. They have not played Lijiang Tower this weekend. UT Dallas, though, complete 2-0 both on Antarctic and Helios. I'm going 2-1 on the record, but Sky Sniper out of play. Jote's working out. So far, so good. You're able to get Regime and Sky Sniper out. Sky Sniper basically your biggest threat on that Cassidy so far, but they're able to take care of them very, very easily.
Also, the fact that we're swapping over to this Ramatra, I get the mentality of doing that here over the Orisa, but I will say the fact that Phone got away with as much as Phone did just now in that previous fight, when you're literally playing Brigitte, one of the best counters, I believe, personally, to the Sombra, is kind of insane. But Phone all do, but play at a very long range, a little bit uncomfortable for the lethality of the weapon that you have from Sombra. But Kashir goes in, hits the shout, manages to get an axe, I think, on 2, is walled off, sustains on the left. nonetheless is going to pull the Ramatra closer and closer to their team, but it looks like we'll stay just a little bit longer. Ram getting dangerously low, so is our tank, and in comes the rally. I told you how deadly the Brig is in the long fights, and this is exactly why.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Haluk doesn't really have an opportunity to make any impact whatsoever. Deadeye hacked out as well, or I should say, Cassidy was hacked, so Deadeye wasn't available to you, even if you wanted to turn that fight. Eric, Zoe, and Phone finding their picks, and UT Dallas holds on. And for the fact, too, that for Blinn, at the very least, Haluk's at 60%, 20% down on Kashir, and UT Dallas has 3 check marks on the board. They won that with 1 Kitsune Rush already. Regime popping rally didn't make a difference either, so feels like Blinn's on the back foot right now. Haluk not making as big of a difference as he did back on the Gardens, so it's got to be a really big Deadeye, maybe even combo that alongside our Orbital Ray, but 1 EMP can make the difference.
I think EMP might be hung on to. Never mind, as I say that, I will eat my own words. 3, 4 caught in the EMP, 1 immediately eviscerated. That's the May. I feel like they're a little targeted, but Kashir, Uber Eats, both are going to fall. Eric, thereafter. This is going to be a turnaround opportunity for Blinn. They finally get the point locked down. But honestly, for how many people were caught in that EMP, the collapse, the crunch that should have taken place at the choke point just did not come to fruition. UT Dallas losing an ult that ultimately I think is what they should have saved for Annihilation.
Well, I said EMP was going to make the difference. It did. Unfortunately, it didn't go the right way you would think. Blinn is able to push past an EMP altogether, and it works out in their favor, and now they're going to have Deadeye to work out for it. Blade's also going to get pulled out here from Eric. There's the Rampage in return, finding at least 2 people in it, but there is going to be a little bit of a kite away, but now they're going to use the Annihilation to counter out everything, so Blinn going to use 2 on the board here. Regime does not pop the rally, but Uber Eats and Phone getting it in return means that there is still a chance that UT Dallas can turn this one around. They're still going to contest the point at the very least. Phone is on the point momentarily, trying to hack it out, but gets punched a little bit by Haluk instead. They're trying to get this Ramatra at bay, trying to kite him all the way back. It might just work, but Riley's going to come back in return. Sound barrier to pop at the same time, too. UT Dallas gets the flip, but meanwhile, this rally is just a kite away, if anything.
Kashir has also made the swap over to this Doomfist as we're hitting that 95 percentile mark. This is last fight. It's Joey. I'm staring at you in this blizzard because there is only a Kitsune, well, a Suzu that is going to be able to save anyone from the enemy team. Never mind, you have taken care of your main op and Kashir. We're holding on to this blizzard. We don't quite need it yet. We actually, I think, are trying to make sure that this Sombra is not able to EMP our poor little snowball, but unfortunately, I think we're miscalculating where EMP is at. Hanging on to that ultimate a little bit longer, though, could be safe considering we're also having Sky Snapper almost having this Deadeye.
Yeah, and also getting that win while also pulling out a Kitsune Rush from UT Dallas' side. Comets are in a little bit of trouble. They have the EMP available. They'll have a Blizzard in return from Blinn, too. Also an Orbital Ray. EMP can make the difference. Phone is all the way in the back here. EMP immediately could work out. That's 4 and caught him inside of it. An Orbital Ray in response, but it might be too little too late. Blizzard comes out from Joey, but is this going to make any of a difference? Because everybody from Dallas kited away, minus Uber Eats, who dies by the hands of Hutch. But Final Fight territory still inbound. At least the kite away from Blinn wasn't too bad, but as I say that, Dallas comes in. Eric and Phone finding their picks mainly on the Hutch, which is your main thing. You do not have any more support off to stay alive here, and the Comets are going to be the one to hang on to this 100-88 from the looks of it. And again, no more ultimates on the board. Comets tie this one up in one apiece.
And we did end up throwing our character model on the objective of your Sky Sniper. Hutch didn't get the opportunity to touch. And then it's Joey is just unfortunately not able to make it. Yeah, I mean, May is pretty slow. You're not able to make it from spawn all the way to the objective. But now we're going to map number 3. The namesake of this one, we're going to Lijon Night Market. I'm excited to see any adaptations being made. It's Joey swapping back over to the Torbjorn. Haluk swapping back over to the Orisa. Everything else for Blinn College looking identical. Now, UT Dallas, my question here is, are we going to swap back over to that Pharah, which we didn't find a lot of success with on Garden? Or instead, on the flip side, are we going to go to the Sombra, what we found a lot of success with earlier? I think, honestly, perhaps we stick with the Sombra.
Maybe, because that Sombra is very, very good against Hutch at the very least. Regime's got to do a lot to cover the Sombra in the meanwhile, so the Sombra is going to get stayed on here. UT Dallas, don't fix it's not broken. Even if it was 12% of a difference, UT Dallas is able to at least keep themselves in a good position to win that one out. They'll take the all the way around. Blinn will go in the main, but, or rather I should say, UT Dallas will go main. Blinn College will go all the way around. See if they can get a side pick. Luckily enough, you weren't booped away by a Lucio but still, it's just a matter of they're not able to get inside of the point whatsoever. You see Haluk right there. Uber Eats finds 2 off the map. That's both Regime and Sky Sniper, a double boop, and a win for UT Dallas here on the night market to start.
Now, can we sustain through that? Any adaptations coming out from Blinn College? Likely not. Uber Eats, though, feeling the groove right now, on fire for their squad after that multiplayer boop. 60% and counting on Sound Barrier also is great to see. We might be able to have an aggressive use of Sound Barrier early in this. Well, late in a second fight would be absolutely massive because there's really nothing you got to look out for from Blinn College. On the flip side, just be aware that It's Joey will third fight have Blizzard as we hit our ring to go forward, looking to wall some people off. Shout is used by Kashir. Brigitte is our target. Sky Sniper, Brig, both falling. That is a fight loss for Blinn College and a fight win for UTD.
Yeah, but Haluk does get phone, which means if Blinn's able to recover fast enough here, then they might be able to have a go button without worrying about hacks or whatever as well. But as I say that too, Haluk almost on the way to a terror surge, 5% above Kashir so far. Uber Eats and Doyu, though, having their ultimates first is really going to be big, so long as they don't stack it all together unless very absolutely necessary. UT Dallas is going to have a fight win to work off of and put this in final fight territory. Orbital Ray, or rather Hyper Ring will come out. Orbital Ray right on the point as well. Keaton rush to counter. Also alongside of the Sound Barrier, which will counteract each other. It's going to be a hacked out terror surge for right now. Not even needing the EMP, but finally using it to get everybody down. A lot of assists coming down the line of the Comets and UTD holding on to this point.
Okay, so we had Rally in conjunction with, I believe, Orbital Ray and Rampage all pop from Blinn. And what turned that on its head? Both support ults responding from UTD. I think they saw that Haluk was going to be looking to use that Terror Surge, so they better have used both rather than not. And then that EMP was just devastational to the backline for UTD. Now, we only have for Blinn. Now with this Rampage online, we go through, but I'm not positive we hit anybody with it. It's Joey falls, but Sky Sniper falls to Eric, who comes in with the blade and is hunting this Judo down.
The one left to go is the Junker Queen and just wiping out the entire team. UT Dallas coming all the way back down 113 on the Gardens to a perfect night market at the end of it. It is 1-0 for the Comets. Well, I mean, Lucio's been a very, very high target for Blinn so far. 3 times this weekend, all of their matches minus this one so far, they've banned Lucio at least once. So, yeah, this is the fact that they haven't done so far means that Uber Eats hasn't been much of a threat to them. But so far, this Sombra is. I'm surprised Blinn hasn't banned out the Sombra just yet, considering what that did to them last round. They are able to trade out 1 for 1, but one's still alive, Kashir's still alive, and UT Dallas with complete control of the point so far.
I understand what Blinn might be trying to do here with It's Joey back on this Torbjorn, anticipating using an off-angled, well-placed off-angled turret to deal with Phone, but Phone is coming in very aggressively, quickly, trying to catch people in rotation. Even Hutch swapping over to the Moira. This is another character that's utilized to try and get rid of a Sombra. Phone is undeterred by your presence, but unfortunately can't get the hack out from that phase. Well, before the phase goes off, forced to use Shout. Kashir is going to back off, doesn't want to be in too close to quarters, but with the Fortify already being burned and Sky Sniper getting eliminated, this is an opportunity for UTD to once again hit that W key if we can get a nice hack onto the back line.
Well, they've already got a good hack onto the front line. They've already got a Haluk to kite away, and that's going to allow so much more space to be built up by Blinn College, or by UT Dallas. In the meanwhile, Phone finding 2 and finding a turret as well means that this Torbjorn doesn't feel like it's as effective. And look at the ultimate percentage as well. Phone's already almost up to an EMP, Eric up to 70%. Meanwhile, Joey's still trying to find a way to 60% and counting. If I'm Blinn here, is the call here to just give up this point, considering that it's almost at 99 and it looks like they're not even going to try?
I think so, and try to take this mid fight here in your team's favor, build those ultimates up. I mean, we do also have this Kitsune Rush, which if we get it fully instigated, cannot get hacked out by Phone. One thing I have to throw out there, though, is Uber Eats has been doing a fabulous job of taking care of It's Joey's turret. So has Eric. So that's what's allowing Phone to succeed so much, despite the fact that there is a Moira who should be countering you. And It's Joey also trying to counter you. Phone is getting support in the way they need to, and we're early Kitsune rushing, going into this small space. This could be where Kashir can thrive, but no, they force out the Coalescence. They say, heck no, we're going to disengage.
Yeah, they're going to trade a Coalescence for a Keeping the Rush. Not too bad to start that one off at the very least, but now Sky Sniper's got to hit a couple of shots. 150 charge on this overclock as well, thanks to the perk on the 50 additional charge, but nothing there either. So now it's going to be Keaton Rush to trade. Regime is there. Blinn will take first cap at this. Phone's trying to get rid of the turret early on, but as Phone is trying to get rid of it, Regime's also landing kunais onto the head of Phone. On trade a 2-for-1 so far, but it looks like Buccaneers will have at least first advantage to this.
Giving up the attempted third fight on first objective was advantageous for them, and also only spending the Coalescence in response to the initial Kitsune rush and then the delayed Kitsune rush from Raheem worked out in their favor. Now they're coming up on Terror Surge in conjunction with the Molten Core. We could see those stacked on top of each other, or we could see Molten Core just used to make sure we can sustain on the objective and keep the enemy team off as a spear goes through and a disruption sphere. EMP is going to land onto just Haluk, but Phone will perish. Sky Sniper falls beat in response to the Terror Surge.
A big response at the very least for UT Dallas to try to turn their fortunes around here, at least on the Duck side. Getting pushed away, though. Now the Molten Core spread out all over the point, and nobody from UT Dallas wants to touch this right now until they have some stabilization. They do get Haluk, but is that enough for the go button? Kashir does have a Rampage. Eric with a blade available. They might not even need to use it to at least hold on to this point, at least to flip in the meanwhile. Comments start off, but they're going to have at least 2 fights to work off of.
Waiting to use that Molten Core until the fight was actually on the objective was well timed from Blinn College. Specifically, it's Joey. It helped them get to that 99% mark, but the re-engagement here is going to be a little bit tough. We're coming up on Kitsune Rush, and we have a locked-in Coalescence, but UTD can respond with their own, and they're going to instantly drop in with this blade. We hit the Coalescence in response. Genji's so low, we do manage to beam him down. Now, Kitsune Rush and Rampage coming through. Rampage is hit. We lose Uber Eats, so we have Kitsune Rush from Raheem come through, but Doi is opting to hang on to this Kitsune, probably thinking we need it for the next fight instead, which is advantageous. We're tied one aside. Now we move on to the third objective.
And it feels so weird to say that both sides have had a 100-0 thus far in this game, and obviously Regime using Kitsune Rush. If you're UT Dallas, you take that any day of the week, considering, yes, they won the point, but they may not win the war at the end of this next fight here. So Doyu will have it. Uber Eats will also have a sound barrier to work off of as well. Sky Sniper also coming up with an overclock to boot here very, very soon. And Phone with an EMP can make all of the difference. Also, Suzuki's very early on. I mean, if I'm UT Dallas, I'm kind of pushing the pressure here already, and they absolutely will. Kitsune Rush will come out already, trying to push the green light, making sure that Suzu doesn't come up online, which it does in the next 1 second. Doesn't matter anyways. When you can't save your tank, you can't save yourself. Kashir finds 2, and it's going to be a point flip. Comments to start.
Ooh, and the bleed comes through. It's Joey will fall, Kashir falls, it's Sniper gone. Eric says, Moira, you're not getting away. Gets a nice little fan spray into the back of Hutch's head. So with that, we're coming up on a possible Coalescence in conjunction with the Terror Surge. If Haluk can hold on to the charge long enough to actually pull the team deeply into that ultimate, because we've seen it popped and not finding as much value as I think it has in days gone by. But Uber Eats likely to respond with that beat, hanging on to it, waiting for their opportunity to respond rather than be aggressive with it. Much of what we've seen from them this entire series so far.
Yeah, but the EMP comes out. Joey and Haluk both EMP momentarily before getting Suzu'd out. Haluk is still hacked for the moment, but that allows his team from UT Dallas to go on in and punch everybody down there. Terror Surge has got to work a miracle. It only finds Eric. It might find a little bit more as well. The Lucio also low health. Blinn looking like they can turn this fight all the way around thanks to a Terror Surge. And Haluk, by the way, still alive on it, finds 3 final blows. Maybe even a Lucio after a charged spear here, but Lucio, I mean, you either get back to your team or you're just falling off the map.
Yep, opting to fall off the map rather than trying to wall ride to freedom. Completely understandable. Plus, we're only at 12% for Blinn College right now. Uber Eats just waiting to reconvene with their team. We just gotta hope that no one from UTD gets overzealous here and gets caught out early. And as I say that, I might have cast a cursed phone off screen. Apologies.
No, that's just Regime, just being Regime on the clicks away on the head of the kunais. So, by the way, map record for these two teams on Flashpoint, they have only played New Junk City when they have played Flash 5 times combined. Flashpoint for Blinn College 2-1, and for UT Dallas 2-0. So either Blinn College hands UTD their first loss on Flash, or it's going to be a good record for UT Dallas, a 3-0 undefeated record here this weekend on Flashpoint. And turret form, hey, why not? Why not? The turret's going to be sticking on walls here for the rest of the map unless Joey says otherwise. So, hey, I mean, that's a pretty fun perk. I think that's one of my favorite perks when it first got listed, even from April Fool's time. It was so much fun. Hutch, though, able to find Phone. Kitsune Rush used by Regime. Coalescence not used just yet in return. Rampage will not be used. They're going to save this, knowing that there was no shot at it, and it will be Blinn taking the second point.
Oh. And we have Hutch getting very greedy, pushing forward. There's 4 people here. Genji's going to try and dash away. Will not be able to survive. I don't know if we'll be able to get the last person. Oh, we will, because we end up using the virus. Hutch is saying, nah, not worth it. I know you have cooldowns. I'm going to disengage. Still have that Coalescence online, almost another Terror Surge. And we have that Molten Core, that pivotal Molten Core that bought Blinn College so much time on that second objective. If they use that again wisely here, it can be an ultimate point saver for them. But the question is, how is there going to be a response from UTD? Because they haven't been able to thus far, but an early blade might be in their favor. We hit the Molten Core, actually try and stave off Genji. It does not work. It's Joey will fall. The Coalescence is going to also not be enough to keep Haluk from passing away. Same with the Kiriko, going to get eliminated too.
Dallas makes that fight very expensive, though. That's 3 ultimates to use. Kitsune Rush, Rampage, and Blade all used at the same time, and that's only in trade for Coalescence plus Molten Core. So 3-2 trade. Blinn's going to take that any day right now, though they will have a Terror Surge, and Haluk last time on a Terror Surge popped off, getting 3 final blows for you, and Phone's going to try to stave off pressure at the very least. Kiriko, he's going to use the Suzer, so that means that they're going to have to wait until that cooldown's down if they even want to have a chance to press the go button. Phone does have an EMP to, at the very least, try to maybe stave off the pressure, especially on a Terror Surge that Haluk could use too. So this is going to be very, very dicey for Blinn College unless they run into the blender. That is Blinn College's composition, but going off so far, there will be a Terror Surge EMP used immediately, but not before the drop down. Anyways, Haluk is still going to fall because Sound Barrier was also available for Uber Eats right as that Terror Surge was happening. Hutch, though, in the meanwhile, fighting 2 thanks to 1 on the orb, and they're going to be able to trade this one out.
I wonder, did Hutch actually opt to go with the DPS-esque Moira, the one that, you know, you hit the orb and it gives the passive of old where, you know, you get 25% reduced healing. Hutch actually went with the 50% burst heal orb, and they're still finding these kills? Insane.
That's insane to me, because obviously the other, it's 50 heal immediately on the healing orb, or if it's on the damage orb, if you went to that instead, it would be, it would kind of be like the grievous wounds, kind of be like just less healing amplified to you, which is really, really much so that I thought Hutch was going for, considering all of the picks that you had. But instead, it's the fade counter up plus the damage. Yep, just being a good support, but Hutch is still not healed anything from the looks of it within the last 5 seconds, and finally throwing out a healing orb. Doing so, having a Coalescence available. Kitsune Rush comes out at the same time from Regime as well. This Moira still staying alive, and Blinn's getting a lot of impact on this. Coalescence comes out at the same time to final fight territory. Blinn, or UT Dallas has to make a move if they even want to win this, but Hutch is going to find 2 on the Coalescence, and we are going to see at least 4 maps, 166 final on the Refinery, and it will be a 3-1 final score here on New Junk City, and for the first time this weekend, UT Dallas losing on Flashpoint. I'm also very surprised as well for UT Dallas too, because for UTD, they are 0-1 here. The fact that they picked this map is something interesting in itself. This weekend they're 0-1 on Gibraltar. Blinn 1 here on Gibraltar, and in fact on Escort they are 2-0 here. So we will get to see very, very quickly what happens here.
All right, so I love how I mentioned, hey, I don't know if we're gonna run Mauga because of the nerfs that went through, and Kashir says, nah, Artie, we're going Mauga. So here's why I also mentioned, we got Sky Sniper on arguably my favorite DPS in the game to play, and that is Ashe. Once we get to that 2nd level and we're able to get that dynamite range increase, Ashe is so deadly, and you're gonna be forcing out Suzu's left and right if it's landing on enough people, but we're going for this 3-point defense right now. No, hello googly eyes on the payload, which is first corner underneath by the mega pack, and then 3rd corner over here. This buys a lot of time if you're playing a composition that allows for a lot of cleave to come forward, but the fact that UTD is doing this with a dive-esque comp in conjunction with the Maga to replace the Brigida using that shout and the burn is kind of insane.
And so far in the defensive end right now, Blinn's going to hold on momentarily, and Sky Sniper, man, I mean, Sky Sniper's got uncontested here for a little while now. 75% on the way to a bomb, no one else even close to an ultimate, minus support on Hutch, which means those dynamites have been so good and just landing everywhere. First time I don't think I've seen a dynamite land there, but 2.5 minutes left to go. Dive is on, trying to get their coach gun away. We'll go the Winston so that you get a little bit more space to work with. Can't work up on that very high level that everybody for Blinn is up there so far. But now Haluk getting it down Eric means that they're going to have a lot less dive pressure on to Sky Sniper, who has a Bob available, but already Genji gone means that maybe a kite-off situation is already here. Instead, though, another coach gone out. They finally find Sky Sniper, who activates Bob, but Bob is also going to land up on that second level, meaning there is pressure on the high ground, and still UT Dallas can find an answer.
Well, the thing is, we let Ash do what Ash wanted to do, so now we're going to theoretically say that Sky Sniper went with the coach gun upgrade, so we're going to be able to boop ourselves pretty far away to safety if we get dove. The amount of dedicated pressure and presence you have to give to Sky Sniper after failing to address them early on is too much now, so your only option is to do it now, but we're not going to be able to do that. We've already lost our Winston yet again.
You know, Winston's gone out of play, and Haluk almost was up to a Primal Rage as well. So what does Blinn do here? They're going to wait for Haluk to do that, but UT Dallas is like, you're not waiting. There is no red light for us. There is only green lights, and they're going to go in. There is going to be a contest. Nano Boost will land from Hutch onto Regime, but that's also EMP'd out. Hutch taking the Nano Boost and putting it on Regime to no avail whatsoever. UT Dallas getting themselves a win. They make it expensive, yes, on 3 ultimates to work with compared to 2, but that's both support ults down for Blinn.
And we have Sky Sniper opting to swap over to the Cassidy. I believe this will give them a little bit more, probably opportunities to protect Hutch, because on a early game, yeah, kind of stinky to have to deal with to deal with your upgrades. But once you start getting those upgrades, again, Ana is just over too. But fail to recognize the enemy Ana, the nade goes through. And we managed to sustain despite everyone getting antied here inside a spaceship.
The one thing my friend always told me is that if they have a dive composition and you're playing Ana, the one thing you always want to hold on to is a Bionade. And
Yes.
You always want to make sure that that Bionade is in the right pocket at the right time, and Hutch finds the answer to why you do and gets the kill early on, meaning that dive can't go in anyways. I think it landed on either 1 or 2, getting the kill onto Kashir anyways. So now Primal Rage available. Phone is still moving payload, which is still around the corner. Not too bad of a situation, but Kashir has a Primal Rage available. Eric does have a blade too. Blinn in return will have a molten core to try to cover payload if needed. You might not even need to. Good nade.
My
Oh,
goodness.
doesn't find the last hit. Oh, Sky Sniper is just going to go ahead and point at the Somber, and yeah, just really nothing here for Blinn to do other than take care of a turret.
So, Doi and Hutch, I'm watching both of these Anas because you said it best, and it's not getting caught without one of your 2 cooldowns. If you don't have nade, you better have sleep. If you don't have sleep, you better have nade. So that means they have to play very patiently, and sometimes that means sacrificing people for the greater good, i.e. it's Joey ending up getting eliminated, but Hutch follows through with the sleep. However, Eric and Doi were doing a lot of damage in that moment, so Hutch, Regime, both going to fall thereafter.
Yeah, no Primal Rage either for Haluk, so it is a Molten Core available plus a Deadeye. Do they try to contest this, or do they look to just swap spawns and pull back here? And the answer probably here with 2 meters left, there's nowhere near. They're probably just going to switch spawns in the meanwhile, and everybody goes back. So UT Dallas holding on to Eric's blade. Phone will have an EMP very, very soon. UT Dallas is going to have 4 check marks on the board. So is Blinn. Well, we love Overwatch, but how about Overwatch? Probably in the next fight, probably in this next fight.
We'll have to see what goes down. We've got an EMP available. Are we going to have a double on a Nano? There's the Nano onto Hutch and to Haluk. I love seeing the double Nano, but then Eric comes in with the blade. There's a Deadeye going after you, but this is the game you have to play. Oh boy, my voice. Anyway, the game you have to play as a Cassidy player is, will you be able to, well, the Genji and the Cassidy, is that Deflect going to time out before I hit the end of my Deadeye and get a portion of it refunded, or am I going to live and you're going to pass away, Genji? Unfortunately, Genji clicked it too early.
Yeah, a little bit too early, and the Deadeye finds it, so Blinn College will have 3 ultimates on the board, including using one of them right now. EMP in return, Regime, Haluk falling also low. Haluk cannot even use the Primal Rage to stay up, and UT Dallas finds a 2-for-1 trade. Phone gets caught out for that EMP, but you're able to take this around the corner at the very least. Home stretch possibility, and they're not going to try to let them regroup as much as they can, but they back off already into the respawn. So here we go, 2 minutes left to go on the clock for UT Dallas to push this up. Sky Sniper getting Uber Eats, though, very, very early on, signals a back off, wouldn't it?
Speaking of back off, Sombra barely makes it out with their life, having a sliver of health left. Say Sky Sniper 77% on another Deadeye. I don't know if we'll have another interaction between Sky Sniper and Eric like we did earlier. If we do, Eric, I hope you time your deflect prop. Uber Eats coming up on a rally. Will we have a raid boss happening with Ana getting a nano onto Uber Eats and themselves. Hutch also with that nano. Haluk ready to come in with a primal rage. Sky Sniper, Deadeye is nearly ready. Can we catch them in rotation? We see the Winston diving in onto Hutch. Hutch is begging for someone to come help us. We find our teammate, hit the nano. One of our teammates is also taking a good night's sleep as we find the first elimination onto Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's one of the crazy moments if you're on just be like, somebody, please, anybody. I don't want to rally the regime because he doesn't have a rally either. Eric Kashir both finding their picks in the trade. Primal Rage finding 2 in the process. That's in the final 5 meters. And finally, you have the Winston touching point momentarily. You do have a Primal Rage in return for it. Haluk does have it, not looking to use it just yet because there's not a lot of people there to use it for to hold on. And you also have your bubble shield back to this googly eyes on the payload's kind of distracting me a little from what's going on here, but you still have Haluk on the Primal Rage. Eric will have the blade, and just momentarily, UT Dallas backs off. 40 seconds left, though, final fight.
Sky Sniper's done the diabolical thing and is Mantle playing the Bastion. Sombra comes through, goes after the Kiriko, forces the Swiss Step and the Suzu back to back. So if that Kiriko gets found, that Kiriko gets eliminated, but Phone instead gets eliminated. Eric gets dangerously low. This goes for the deflect. Hutch trying to get a little supportal combat action going through. Bastion in our entire turret form forward, rounds the corner, supporting our Winston. Our Winston's deep in there, forced to hit that Primal Rage, gets slept, but instantly woken back up.
And that's a big ultimate gone as well. That means you don't have it here in the final push. So if UT Dallas wants to pull out something here, they need to pull Driver. They need to pull Nano Blade right away here. Blade's going to come out. Though he doesn't Nano Boost Eric. Instead, Nano Boost Kashir onto the point. Phone is able to find a Hutch EMP in response. Gets at least 3. Sky Sniper, Joey, Regime all falling oh so low. And they pull out all the stomps minus a rally at the end of it. And UT Dallas will go uno, dos, adios, completing the entire map on Gibraltar. Blinn College to respond. And they have some time to do it, but UT Dallas lands up with no time left.
All right, I think when we see Phone go onto Sombra, we need to get a Hutch back onto that Moira, and we need to just say, Moira, go get him. Because Phone is just too much right now. This Sombra is getting away with many things, and one of them is getting massive EMPs, not getting taken care of, is able to just poke from long range, and honestly, I think Hutch is disciplined enough to know when to not engage on this Sombra. We saw it on New Junk City, and I know we'd see it here on Gibby. The Winston gameplay that came out a little late, I did enjoy seeing. Also, I love the healing bubble myself, so we'll have to see. Are we going to stick with the Battle of the Winstons? We are, at least to start, and Phone is actually swapping things up a little bit, going with this Hanzo, which on defense makes a little bit of sense, but the Sombra was so powerful. If it ain't broken, why fix it? Yes! Thank you, Phone.
I was about to say, Phone's standing there a little too long for me to think that that Hanzo pick is real. Wait, are you... What's going on?
Are you going back and going Hanzo?
Are you going back, or are you going somewhere else? So Echo is being played instead for Phone. This is interesting because Echo was banned out by UTD to start, but Phone instead now going to the Echo. Sky Sniper on the Ash. I mean, this might be a little harder to go into here.
Sky Sniper, let's see how this Ash works out, because I think if we have a Winston and a Genji and an Echo all trying to deal with you, your life's going to become a little more complicated than you thought. As we have Kashir already forced off that back high ground. Phone dangerously low, is going to get healed back up. Winston disengaging, and Kashir gets antied. It's going to buy us a little extra time here.
Big anti-nade onto the Hutch and Haluk, so that means they have to back up momentarily. They are playing all grouped up. A couple of stickies would be really, really good news for you as they try to move all the way around. Good bio-nade onto the Ash as well. Doyu finds final blood there onto Sky Sniper, and a good sleep dart as well, but Phone's not completely off the map. Nearly on the edge there. Hutch does find final blow onto Phone, but it's not going to matter when Eric is in the back already, taking care of both your Ana and your Torbjorn and yourself, Regime. So UT Dallas starts off on the defense pretty well, though the cart has moved up very, very well.
Eric hanging on to a little sliver of life, could not sustain through that. Haluk also is going to be eliminated. Speaking of a sliver, we have a sliver of space before that payload hits that first objective, and we have just under 3 minutes on the clock. Right now, for UT Dallas, they need to burn off at least, I say, 90 seconds to make this look like it's not going to be just the payload being unstoppable.
So far, they made it to the point where it's 1 minute and 20 left. Phone moving on over from one flyer to another. Moves on over from the Echo into the far instead. Kashir, 60% to an all differential of plus 20 onto Haluk so far. Hutch and Regime getting close to theirs, but Doyu will have Nano Boost first before anything else. If Doyu wants to pull that out right away, now would be the time. unless Hutch can respond in turn. 2 minutes and 20 left to go. It will be the nano boost onto Kashir, doing a lot of damage, but not too much considering everybody's already kited out. There's level 2 also for Kashir as well, but just nothing doing yet so far. Big Bionade onto Regime, and Haluk would force them all the way around. Hutch will go ahead and nano boost out Sky Sniper as he were being dove on by Kashir. Sleep Dart lands up on top of Haluk momentarily.
Oh.
They will trade that out though. Good shot in between the eyes of Phone from Sky Sniper. Bob will land up on top level, doing some damage and raining down damage from above. And now Sky Sniper is brought down below thanks to a Primal Rage. In return, Regime will use the rally to see if there's anything left for Blinn College in the tank. So far, so good. I mean, if you're looking in terms of damage, Blinn is totally winning this, and Itch Joey will do so at the same time. Eric pulling out Driver, Eric pulling out the plate, finds 3, 2 in one swing. Eric's going to find a fourth, looking to clean up the entire team, and UT Dallas holds on.
Okay, I said a sliver before the objective earlier. No, that is a sliver. We were sub 2 meters from hitting that doorway. That was a Hail Mary hero play coming out from Eric, getting a 4K, kind of a 5K with the assistance from Phone on that final kill. Sky Sniper, I really thought that Bob play was going to have it in the bag. It just wasn't quite enough. Eric played patiently and waited for the perfect opportunity to strike with that blade. Let's see, do we have Phone coming in with a clutch? Raining Justice from above later in this fight as we disengage and go to the back high ground and take care of Joey's turret for Arfara, so Arfara has more time to live.
Well, the Fara's got to live too, because you also have the Barrage available, and the Barrage is going to be used immediately. That forces half Primal Rage nearly immediately. Haluk heard the Barrage is like, no, I ain't taking any chances. Pulling out the Q already, and pulling out the Primal Rage very, very early on, so a lot of health bars falling oh so low. Kashir is slept, also nano boosted too, and the UI is having a little trouble concerning it, so it's just going back between a Sleep Dart and a nano boost at the same time. Big Bionade landing off to Itch Joey, but they're into the server room right away to kite that off, and Kashir goes down on the hands of it, so finally Blinn College able to respond, and they'll have 247 to push it up to second.
Not the time bank I was anticipating them having here, considering their first performance with... I mean, that first fight was very strong for them. They got the payload so heckin' far, but they could not follow through. Time was just burned a lot by UT Dallas. Now, as we're coming up into this fight, the first one here, we're going to have this nano boost online from Hutch. Do we have the duo nano available yet, ClutchKey?
Maybe. I mean, Hutch, let's see if Hutch has it. No, Hutch still has Bionade, or Bouncing Nade, very, very close to level 3 on the double nano boost, probably doesn't hold on to it until reaching level 3, instead uses it to pull out the Winston. I mean, that's a kite-away situation as well that UC Dallas handles kind of well if you think about it before this next fight.
Truly, I think the using it early to gain this mid-zone space was probably advantageous rather than trying to buy that extra time and wait for the tertiary boost to come through with that double nano. But now the question is, can we keep Hutch alive without the nano boost available?
Oh.
And yeah, Kashir landing down on Raheem, Haluk, and Hutch all getting eliminated in this tiny room. And just a quick little sleepy fest here for Itch Joey before they get sliced and diced by Eric. Sky Sniper kind of staggering themselves out by going for that final kill on the phone and letting themselves live as long as they did.
You know, Doyu's been landing a lot of good bio-nades. You have to respect the nades that are just coming out from the Zana player so far, and we'll pick up the nano boost perk as well. Why not, right? Still plenty of time, minute 20, and you also have a nano boost to work with as well in case anybody dives in. Hutch doesn't have one either, so Regime's rally is going to be very, very key if Blinn wants to survive what should be the onslaught of a blade from Eric too. But Kashir already taking care of Haluk means that there's really no way to dive in. You got to wait a couple of more seconds for this to respond. If you're diving in now, it's probably suicide.
Waiting, we have 4, almost 5 ults available and ready to go. Now on the flip side of that from Blinn, the team that has the under 60 seconds to push this payload a little bit further. Again, a little concerned. I think we're trying to get Haluk this Primal Rage before we full commit. But we're going to throw Bob to the high ground. The counter charge from the Brigida to prevent Bob from going exactly where they wanted it to was huge. So we send Eric in full force, hits a double kill. Sky Sniper, Raheem both falling down. I got to give my shout out though to Uber Eats for that stun onto Bob.
Yeah, not only Uber Eats counteracting a charge on a shield bash, doesn't even need to use Rally for it. Plus pulls out Nano Blade, pulls it out, and it's a big fight win for UT Dallas, and now that Bob is also gone, Sky Sniper, by the way, first time we're going to see Genji here for Sky Sniper regardless, so now Blinn has 3 ultimates on the board. Bigger problem is UT Dallas is going to press the go button right away. They already used the Barrage out. Eric gets that kill on the Hutch. That's a bigger one considering Phone also using Barrage to keep them at bay. Primal Rage used now by Haluk, and Regime using the Rally means that the only ultimate left on the board for Blinn will be a Nano Boost coming up, and they're in overtime. They have to stay on card for the remainder of this period unless they can get into the second strike point. Kashir will back away with the last second of Primal Rage. They get a fight win, but how much longer will this last?
I mean, if you're Blinn College right now, we have Raheem also swapping over to Moira, trying to get in as quickly as possible. Nath going for the Lucio, which is the better option. But yes, it's Joey. Having this Molten Core will buy them extra stall time to wait for their last teammate to make it in. Bubble goes up. We have that Nano, but we don't land it on Haluk in time due to line of sight issues. We're trying to keep our Torbjorn alive. Our Torb falls. Eric is managing to find 2 with the dash, and that is going to be the end of the map.
So yeah, also on the board as well for bans, Sombra is now banned out from Blinn. Some would say finally after what has transpired in the last couple of maps, but Blinn will ban out the Sombra in return. UTD banning out the Orisa. And by the way, again, I'll point this out that throughout the entire weekend, even if it was only 2 matches, UTD didn't ban a single tank, and now they banned twice out. They banned out tanks here. Finally, UTD banning out both D.Va and Orisa in the last 2 maps on Gibraltar and Esperanza. So that means they're very, very scared of what Haluk can do, especially on the Orisa, especially on the Zarya as well, or especially on the D.Va too to dive. So we go to Esperanza, and again for this entire weekend here, 2-0 for UT Dallas on push on Runasabi and Esperanza, and the only map Blinn has played the entire weekend. Or rather, I should say the 2 maps they had played on push. Runasabi was their 1 win, but their 1 loss was on Esperanza. So this is a very, like you said earlier, this is a bold move here from Blinn, thinking that they can win off of it. But Hutch is on the Moira, and we all know what the Moira can do.
Hutch's Moira is very devastational in the best way possible for Hutch, but worst way possible for the enemy team. Now, as we look, we've got the mirrored tanks. We have the Ram v Ram, but we've got that Lucio amp speed, which is, I think, a pivotal thing for Amatra in that Nemesis form. So when you go in for those punches, especially if you get what I'll refer to as the shotgun perk, it's insane how much it can do. But Sky Sniper is going to take care of that advantage rather quick, eliminating Uber Eats first and foremost.
And it also feels like this is an easier map for Sky Sniper to handle, especially with a Cassidy and maybe not an Ashe to dive on, in which case UT Dallas isn't even diving onto you, minus the Genji, minus even the Lucio with you and Phone on the Pharah, but still, you have a better shot with the Cassidy to take down this Pharah very, very quickly, and you can already see the ultimates building up. Sky Sniper the closest to anything in the first fight alone, in the first 20, going over to Blinn. So Sky Sniper having a little bit of fun, and as long as you're able to protect the Cassidy, this Pharah shouldn't be a problem, and Phone's trying to dance around the rooftops here. Sky Sniper at full health, and Phone Phone down to 48 heals, or 48 health before going back, and they will get this in turn, but man, it just feels like Blinn College's pressure is way too much on the board right now.
Right now, Blinn opting to stay on this high ground when we almost get the bot to that first objective was the right play personally, but I think they got a little caught off guard by allowing this pinch to occur, so they have to give up that space again, and now we're moving into the neutral zone. Sky Sniper coming up on this Deadeye is probably looking for an opportunity to hit it. He's going to use it to actually get some reprieve for our tank. Haluk able to then go in with the punches and gain space back. Almost gets the full elimination onto the far, but can't quite get that skull zeroed in. Now we're back in this neutral fight territory. I'm looking at these support ults that are about to come online. I think the first one to get popped is going to be the one that wins this fight out.
Kitsune Rush alongside of a Nano Boost on either end here. So Nano Boost is going to get pulled out first. Kitsune Rush in return. Is the Nano Boost going to make the biggest difference? It might. Barrage is out. Barrage finds both of the support lines. So you're right. The first one that got pulled out was the win. The Nano Boost plus the Barrage up in the skies, and a moving Barrage as well is the scariest thing to watch when it's Nano Boosted. Blinn also forced out to change a little bit, and Haluk for the first time, we will see Wrecking Ball in play for the Buccaneers.
Truly, there's only ever one support ultimate that you want to use to be reactionary with, and anyone that plays him knows him. It's Sound Barrier from Lucio. If you are stuck responding to an ultimate from an enemy team as a support, you are most likely having a poorer experience in that moment than the one who ulted first, as we have Haluk come in, use that slam, take down both the supports for UTD, and find Phone! The Wrecking Ball swap coming in strong, accidentally giving ourselves a lot of damage though, letting that Genji get a decent chunk of full charge, but it's okay. Eric already has it.
Yeah, I mean, Haluk switching on over to a curveball, almost quite literally to a Wrecking Ball instead. makes things a little bit harder for UT Dallas to react off of him. Now there's a lot more angles to try and look for. Unfortunately, though, Hulk doesn't really have anything to dive off of besides himself. So you have Sky Sniper, you have Joey. That's not really a dive composition you're working off of. The only maybe thing you have is a Moira to help and a Kiriko to TP if needed, but Soundbarrier is going to be the one to start us off, and no other ultimates used. Blinn's able to kite off pretty well, and now it's going to be a Coalescence trying to heal up the top and also using that as kind of a 50-50 to do damage plus the heal, but Hutch able to find one onto Uber Eats. This is going to be a checkpoint here unless UT Dallas can come up with some miracle play, but miracles don't exist in this one.
Let us proceed.
All right, Sky Sniper with the Deadeye. We also have Kitsune Rush. I'm just going to say Haluk and Regime also have their ults online. Hutch not having Coalescence is going to be okay when your team has that many check marks available, but Doi, I'm looking at you with this Blade. If we can get the Blade and post Kashir up in the perfect spot to be able to facilitate Eric, I could definitely see this being a Ravenous Vortex type of situation. Eric getting multi-kills yet again, but Haluk coming in and take down Phone early could be devastation. We're going to follow that up quickly with the Kitsune Rush. There's the Blade, there's the Ravenous Vortex. We're trying to respond with the Molten Core. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not nowhere near enough, and Haluk is going to stall this as long as possible, just spinning around the robot, and somebody's got to finally take care of it with the Ravenous Vortex too, but that's not a bad stall either. That means that everybody is in time going to have a spawn forward, but Blinn College, that was expensive. That was 3 ultimates. Mines as well. Coalescence isn't close to being up either, even though used in the last fight, but the Nano Blade pulls out, and now UT Dallas is going to have an annihilation to work with, considering that there is nothing that Blinn can do but either kite away and hope you have maybe some kind of good plan to run away in a fire escape, but instead just waiting for all of this pressure. Now they do have that forward spawn, meaning that they are going to be able to contest this before the checkpoint. It's still enough because there's still a lot of damage that is coming from a lot of different angles, and Kashir's holding on to an annihilation. They will contest this with 4 meters left, finally flipping it around, but now the annihilation comes out, has to drop, now has to use the Suzu, is also stunned momentarily, but the annihilation finding one, may even find a little bit more. Torbjorn Cassidy cannot run away. No check marks, no wins. Dallas takes it and will get the first checkpoint for them.
All right, now the expensive fight was not parlayed, I think, properly by Blinn. Just the timing was unfortunate, and oh my goodness, even the turret looks silly. Now, Uber Eats coming up on this rally. Doi coming up on another Nano, and there's nothing. I mean, we've got Haluk with the landmines coming in, almost, if we can get enough poke damage done early on. That slam got us a significant amount of percentile, and we're starting to take the bot. We're taking the TS1 and saying bye-bye, as we also get Kashir eliminated. Uber Eats, Doi, Eric, all gone. I think the ball coming through, taking the attention in conjunction with Hutch, was well planned out by Blinn College.
Yeah, because the main thing there too was, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the ball or are you looking at the robot? Well, which one? And you can't exactly have two phases to look at. You got to look in one direction. So fortunately for Blinn, unfortunately for UT Dallas, they're going to give up a checkpoint, even though they got the checkpoint in return. Not everybody's going to have these forward spawns either, meaning Blinn's going to have a lot more space to work off of, and Diva will come into play for Kashir now. So UT Dallas trying to respond in turn, having 3 check marks on the board. Nano Boost alongside Molten Core and Rally, which Nano Boost will land up on top of Uber Eats. Maybe not using the Rally right away here, but using it to at least make some space and putting the pressure on that, yes, we have a Rally. Do you think we're going to pop this right now? That answer is no. Phone finds 2 in the process, and the Comets at least keep this close.
We cannot let our Diva lose Toki, though. If Toki is lost during early fight stage, that's diabolical and a death sentence for our squad. Thankfully, we will be able to keep Diva in mech. One thing I will also point out here is that Phone's turret is getting a lot of value, especially now that we've swapped over to Diva. It's going to be even more irksome to try and deal with. You saw Break try to deal with it, Uber Eats to no avail. Same with Kashir. But we have no choice now but to play around its existence and hope that our team's aware of it. We're going to respond to the carpet bomb that comes through with the one of our own coming in through Molten Core, but we respond too late. We lost Uber Eats. Sky Sniper will fall. Will we be able to find another one as we're desperately trying to protect our Ana? The Wrecking Ball will escape and play the front line just a little bit longer. Coalescence comes through for Blinn College. Will this be enough for them to come out on top? They find Phone. They find the extra player that is the turret. They're trying to pierce damage through in towards this Mega, and they're able to get a little bit of extra healing onto their Wrecking Ball. Diva, overzealous, comes in with no shields available, and that's a death sentence for Toki. Oh, the plan of escape was to use self-destruct.
Self-destruct does get the turn at the very least, letting them advance right on in. Now it's a Molten Core that kind of just goes for nothing. It's Joey using that as kind of Joey using that as a kite-away situation. Eric's now going to get a blade in return here, and because they have 4 checkpoint, Robot's still going to keep moving away into midfield. Blinn College, if they stagger here, they're not going to have forward spawns. Regime's out for a little while now, and UT Dallas gives themselves a chance. They have a Kitsune Rush too to work with alongside of an overclock, but this is getting dire here. Blinn might fall down a little.
Look, this is the exact same spot that we had Blinn earlier immediately turn things back in their favor. I think if we get around this corner truly, right next towards that bus, we put ourselves in an advantage state. If we are UTD, we're going to kite that Kitsune Rush. We managed to, at least, because I think it was used just a little bit too far back in comparison to where Bot was. If we just give it a little bit more time, like I said, find the advantage state, which is let it swing all the way around towards this bus. We didn't have it just yet. Now we have to find a way to get a little bit more room here, even without our tank, and it's gonna be a little bit harder considering you're down 1. D.Va is going hunting.
D.Va goes hunting, but for the Sojourn instead doesn't land it. 10 meters left to go, down to the final 8 now, as it will be an overclock being popped up from Sky Sniper. 5 meters the differential. Fight win here for UT Dallas, gives them lead with less than a minute left to go. Sky Sniper gets rid of the third at the very least, but that's a nano boosted D.Va trying to dive right on into the Sojourn. Can't find it momentarily, but nor you finding Hunt is a big one for you too. They find 3 more picks, and all the process that's going on next to a Molten Core help. 1 meter left to go. Sky Sniper trying to touch. They take the lead with 35 seconds left.
Nah, nano boosted D.Va, that is a missile coming flying at you. Haluk is gonna go for the last second Zarya swap. We saw Zarya get banned earlier, and Blinn never used her app even before that ban, so now we forced out an early Suzu. Uber Eats, well executed, comes through, hits that rally. Maywall is not going to sustain very long. These are late swaps coming from Blinn College. I mean, the Zarya as well as the Mei. Hutch does have Coalescence, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, Moira's a one-man army, but a one-man army can only do so much when you're on the back foot.
Coalescence, or rather, it's going to be 1 more touch left to go. The Doomfist is on. Hutch is down. Regime's down. Hutch isn't even going to be able to use the Coalescence. And Dallas will go dancing. They will win the last chance qualifiers, and they will be advancing on to CECC Meme Madness and deny Blinn of 2 straight years of it, of the last chance qualifiers win, but UT Dallas winning it for the first time since 2023. So congratulations to the comments they were in earlier, thanks to an all-UTD final in Valorant. Had to sweat a little bit more here for your program in Overwatch, but the comments are going into Main Madness one more time already. But that was a fun series overall, even if the score was 3-1.